there's really no other feeling like it. Working on music, putting everything you've got into it, and then waiting, just sitting, waiting for that day to come where everyone gets to hear it. It's a truly amazing feeling. So yeah, it's exciting, but it's also scary, and it's all these emotions wrapped up into one thing. And so yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be kind of surreal as well, because you created pretty much the entire record during the pandemic, right? What was that experience like?
It was man, it was challenging in some ways, but rewarding in others. You know, Josh and I, the other guy in the band, we had to kind of work remotely in some ways. He was in his studio on the other side of the country, and we would kind of video conference in and work on some parts and stuff. And in some ways it was a little cumbersome, but it was, like I said, rewarding once we figured it out. I don't think that in any way that we cut any corners. I think that we landed on arguably the same product that we would have if we would have been working together. At least I would hope. But yeah, no, it was in knowing also that we didn't, going out and playing shows wasn't really an option at that point. It seemed like there was no wonder, is this the best use of my time? Is this the best use of what we should be doing? I mean, it was the only option. So there was a sense of peace in that we were at least doing the right thing and, you know, making the most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very productive time. Do you think that, you know, that sort of circumstance of having to create this album remotely, did it force you guys to experiment or switch up how you usually create, whether it was like in the songwriting process or actually, you know, recording the tracks together?
Well, no, actually it wasn't that much of a shakeup for us. The way that it's always been for us is it just starts with me in a room by myself working on music. I've always been an advocate for working alone, especially at the beginning of the process. I feel like a lot of artists can get caught up in the hype of having people around them, telling them that what they're doing is good. The truth is there's something about just being close in proximity to anything being created is exciting. The trick is that just because it's exciting doesn't necessarily mean it's good. And so I've always liked to try to keep my distance from people when starting a process, starting a song, starting an album, and then bringing people in when it made sense. So in a lot of ways, we'd kind of been conditioned to operate in these circumstances already.
Yeah, you were made for this. This was like your time to shine.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and otherwise very dismal and, you know, in some ways, you know, very dark and frustrating and difficult for a lot of people. Yes, looking for the good in it. We were custom built to continue to work on music inside of it. And, you know, I was, you know, looking at the good side of things. You know, I became a dad over the course of this pandemic. I was forced to stay home and be a part of my daughter's, her whole first year of life without even leaving. And so I think that looking for the good, like I mentioned, that definitely is something that I will look back on fondly.
Congratulations. That's so exciting. And I've read that, you know, you two were saying that you almost reached a new level of introspection while working on the record, you know, very separately. What did that involve for you two, and how do you think that impacted, I guess, the final result of the record?
Man, I think sometimes I get a question where I feel like, man, if I could just get that question in 2 years, I'd be able to answer it perfectly. And that's what can happen when you write when you write a record, or really when you create anything. When you add distance and time and space between when you wrote it, when you created it, and then being able to look back on it, sometimes you can answer a question like that a little clearer. I don't know exactly how the circumstances that we wrote this record impacted the way it turned out, but I would like to believe that eventually I'll know, I'll be able to see it and compare it to other records and other seasons of my life and realize why those decisions were made in that way. Right now, it's just a little too fresh. You know, I'm still really excited about just showing people and getting people's gut reaction to these songs. It's exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. And you'll have the chance to do exactly that with the 21 Pilots live stream experience next month. How excited are you to be playing the album live and sharing it with people in that way?
Yeah, we're really excited. We've been working on this live stream concert thing that's going to be happening when the day that the record comes out. And, we've known from the beginning, we were never going to replace what live music is for us. Live music has always been such an important part of who it is that we are as a band, and even who I am as an individual. That's where I've grown so much up on stage, and we've built such a rapport with our fans in that capacity. I don't think that we could ever, create something that perfectly emulated that feeling. But with that in mind, I do think that we're approaching this live stream event in a way that I think is new, is different, is fresh. There's some things that are familiar about it, in the sense that Josh and I are playing music, but the way that we package it and deliver it and the story found inside it, I think is something that's going to keep it fresh all the way through. And it's hopefully going to be something that no one's ever done before.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. So I've heard that there are quite a few interactive and immersive sort of features in the show. What can we expect?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few live shows or live streamed shows, and there's this natural lull that happens around song 2 or 3 where it feels like, okay, I get it. And then a lot of these events just kind of keep, giving you more of the same. What Josh and I have wanted is to make sure that it takes a turn every second that it can. There's a new way to present this song. There's a new environment in which this song is going to be played. There's going to be a story that's coursing through it. It's going to be set in this, era. And I think it's going to be something that the people that pre-order that ticket and are in that room and watching that, I hope that they feel, I hope that they can feel how much time and energy that we've put into it. And I think that they will.
Yeah, I know that you were saying it's pretty much impossible to replicate that feeling of a live show, and I totally agree. But it sounds like with those sorts of immersive features and like keeping people on their toes, like that's kind of what you do in a live show setting anyway, right?
Exactly. You have to innovate. There's another version of, so like before the show starts, there's a kind of a pre-show lobby that our fans will be able to gather in, remotely and, over the internet. And we've created this room where they're going to be able to interact. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be like nothing else. Just in the same way you can't emulate perfectly the feeling of being at a live show. I don't think you can emulate perfectly the feeling of being in line for that show and getting to know someone who's a stranger who just happens to be also a huge fan of that same band. Hopefully we provide the ability for them to make, friendships in that same organic way that I've seen happen countless times during a real concert.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be amazing. And the set is going to pretty much span your career, right? Are there any tracks from the old or new record that you're especially excited to bring to life in this format?
So we're going to be playing a lot of new songs, but also some old ones. One of my favorites on the record is called Mulberry Street, and it's we've kind of built something specifically for it, and I'm really excited to let people see what I saw in my head as I was writing that record. And that's always a liberating feeling for me as a songwriter. If there's something specifically that I see or I feel while working on the song itself, if I'm given the opportunity to show that someone that, whether it's through a music video, through a live show, or through this live stream, it always feels like they got the fullest version of the idea. And in that sense, there's a lot of the songs that will be played on this live stream event where I will feel like, yes, this is what I was picturing when I was writing this record.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see it come to life. And I think it's going to be really cool. Everyone's going to love it. But I think that's all the time that I have left with you today. But congrats on the record and good luck with the show. I'm sure you guys will kill it as usual.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.